morning. This is Vicki Gervicus, the Director of Public Policy and Grassroots Engagement at the Gainesville Chamber of Commerce, and I'm delighted to welcome Chad Johnson today. He is one of our candidates for State Representative, District 22, and we're going to get to know him a little bit better. I've got a few questions for him, and he's going to tell us what things are important to him as he pursues this office. Chad, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, my name is Chad Johnson. I am a candidate for the State Representative District 22. That seat's currently Chuck Clemens is in that seat. He is term limiting out. Couple of unique things about us. We like to think of ourselves as the conservative grassroots candidate. I have lived in this district the way that it's currently drawn all of my life. Grew up in Gainesville, went to school at Buchholz, graduated from PK Young, pursued a degree from Florida in ag economics, food and resource economics. Met my wife, who was from Chiefland, married her in 1994. We moved to Chiefland. We've been here for almost 30 years this September, and been always in agriculture, sales, cattle industry sales. And then we've been in the auction business as a side venture, become an auctioneer and have a real estate license, mainly do large tracts with Saunders, SVN Saunders, Ralston and Dantzler. Former county commissioner in Levy County. From 2009, I was appointed and then served until 2014. We've been out of politics for 10 years, hadn't necessarily missed it. But when this term limit of Representative Clemens was terming out, we were looking around to find a candidate, because the district is unique in that you've got two complete rural counties make up this district, and then you've got a piece of Alachua County, and it includes the University of Florida. And so for us, it was trying to find the right candidate that understood rural counties, rural municipalities, and the challenges associated there, as well as having a background knowledge and understanding of Gainesville and the university. And so we kept looking around, and I kept bringing up suggestions of other individuals, and they kept turning it down. And so eventually everyone was like, no, it needs to be you. And so after consultation with lots of friends and family and deep prayer, my wife and I decided to enter the race in September, and we've been running ever since. So I'm excited to be in the race and look forward to the opportunity to get to represent what I think is probably the best part of the state of Florida, to both reside, raise kids, and work. And so we are excited and hope we have the opportunity to be the state representative for District 22.
Wonderful. Okay, well, let's jump in and do a few questions, and you'll see that there's a good segue, I think, from your opening, reminding everyone no one got the questions ahead of time, so that is just a coincidence. So question number one is, what would be your top priorities and projects if you're elected to the legislature?
So obviously our career and background is in agriculture and maintaining sustainable agriculture here in the state of Florida. You know, in Florida, we often think of the beaches and Mickey Mouse, but agriculture is part of the DNA of this state. We are the #1 leader in many different ag commodities. And even right here in this district, we're wrapping up watermelon season, but two of the top watermelon growing counties in the state, and Florida is #1 in watermelons. We're #1 in strawberries. Several different commodities, but maintaining the sustainability of agriculture, because I do believe that part of this nation's security is dependent on having a safe and reliable food source. And so that and from economic prosperity, we spend, this country's never spent more than 12% of its gross disposable income on food. And that allows us to invest in so many different other industries and technologies to continue to keep America on the forefront. And so obviously we're going to be engaged in agriculture. My wife's a former school teacher. Education is absolutely imperative to us. It is the life changer, but our focus is not only K through 12 and not only college, but trade schools. I don't know if you've been in a situation where your AC's gone out or your vehicle needs repair, and you either got to wait a week. Well, waiting a week for AC in Florida can be tough. And so we absolutely need to be encouraging and seeking out young men and women who have talents for those type industries and getting them plugged in and continue to get people educated and trained to get in the workforce and help us continue to grow the GDP.
Very good. Okay, next question, and you touched on this a little bit in your opening, but what particular skills and experiences do you bring to this office?
So again, a degree in ag economics, pretty analytical, absolute student of Adam Smith, the father of modern economics, and understanding, the wealth of nations and what drives economies. Former county commissioner, and I was a county commissioner during a pretty tough time, in that it was 2009 to 2014. Real estate values had shot up. Rural counties were always a high mill assessment, low value. Well, then all of a sudden, the value assessment of the land shot up, and everybody's ad valorem tax raised, and we do what governments tend to do. We increase the size of government. And then when I come in, the real estate boom had busted, and it was being fiscally conservative to make the tough decisions to keep a county solvent and reduce the size of government, but still trying to deliver, adequate service levels. So we've been in the trenches in understanding the tough parts of politics. And the other thing that makes us unique is that we, like I said earlier, we have lived in this district all of our lives, and it's generational. My wife is fifth generation Levy County. My family goes back 6 generations of being either in Marion County, Alachua County, or Gilchrist County. And so for us, it's very personal. Yes, it's politics, but our accountability level is so different from the standpoint there are so many people in the community that know us that we're going to see, and they're going to expect us to deliver as a representative. And so, and in my personal nature is I don't like to disappoint my friends and families and colleagues. And so for us, it is personal. And so I think that unique combination just kind of separates us and gives us a different perspective as far as being a state representative.
Very good. All right, my next question is, Florida's population is expected to grow by 300,000 residents each year over the next 5 years. Given the profound implications to our state, what should the legislature be doing right now?
So it's a struggle, and when you throw that number out, you think, okay, that's a lot, but 300,000, that's basically the size of Tampa every year that we grow, to put it in perspective. And so, and what we see in a lot of places in rural counties, and even rural parts of Alachua County, have seen growth that they haven't seen in the past. And people move to those areas because they're wanting to get away from the consolidation of people in other places. And we do what we've been doing for the last 50 years, and that's loving Florida to the point where it's changing, and it's changing rapidly. But we cannot, there's a theory we have in here, and it's NIMBYs, and once you find your piece of paradise, you want to close the gate behind you, and nobody else can come in, and that is unrealistic. People are going to come to Florida. It's the place where everybody saves all year to spend 2 weeks, and they save all their life to come here and retire. And so I do love that about the state. I think it's the best state in the union, but maintaining and staying out in front of this growth is important. The way we do roads is a challenge from the standpoint that once you allocate the study, decide to do the road study, allocate the study, fund the actual collection of data, get the data back, and then allocate money for the roads. Heck, the road is the 2 lanes that you're going to add are basically irrelevant because you needed 4 lanes by then. And so being more aggressive and being engaged in what I call smart growth that is social and economically beneficial for that community and for that area, building that infrastructure prior to the growth coming so that you have a viable means of providing services And at the same time, one of the things that we often forget, and Levy County has 7 ambulances, our population is aging. We need to have roads and highways that are not only, traversable, they need to be where we can get to major medical care in a timely manner safely. And so making sure that we're building that infrastructure as we grow and being socially smart about growth, I think is very important. And it should be one of the things that is a key point of the legislature.
Okay, very good. The next question is Florida moving in the right direction or the wrong direction?
So I would say that the data supports that it's moving in the right direction. Continue people want to come here. There's no income tax. It is, yeah, it's hot right now, but at the same time, it's a place where there's so many different opportunities for families. Where this district is blessed, in Gilchrist and Levy County has 2 great school systems, A and B schools. Gainesville has a university. There's major medical opportunities with 2 great health institutions. So there's just so many good things that are not only going on in this district, but the state as a whole. And I think that is why we see, 300,000 people a year coming to the state of Florida versus going to other states. So I do think that we are on the right path, and the direction that we are going is the right direction, and supports economic growth and supports folks wanting to come here and raise families.
Very good. Okay, and then my last question is kind of the traditional wrap-up question, which is, why should our local business community support your campaign?
So again, I mentioned it earlier. We are laissez-faire. We less government intrusion. I think one of the House bills that Representative Clemens passed is unsolicited proposal for public and private partnerships, allowing the private ventures of businesses who focus on trying to continue to grow and expand their business, consequently increasing jobs, increasing economic prosperity, getting those folks engaged and working hand in hand with government, rather than government being in direct opposition of private business. And so we are almost laissez-faire to a fault. Realize that you got to have government, you got to have regulations in certain places, but trying to reduce the government intrusion into the private business and allowing business to flourish. I will always be an advocate for private property rights and for private businesses to let the marketplace decide what is best. The consumer will tell you what they want, and I think we need to be more consumer and market focused versus political ideology.
Very good. Okay, the last few minutes that we'll spend together are yours. If there's anything we didn't cover that you want to cover, now is the time.
Well, again, my name is Chad Johnson. I am a product of this district, born and raised in Gainesville, product of the Loxwood County school system back in the 80s, graduated from PK Young my senior year in 1988. Student at the University of Florida, and I was very fortunate, first one in my family to go to school. My family was absolutely not in politics. My dad was an REA lineman and a football coach, and so the community aspect for me comes from my father. He coached Little League football at the boys club for 25 years, and then got to retire from Clay Electric so that he could coach high school football the last 23 years of his life. And so just, understanding Gainesville from that standpoint, having old time friends in Gainesville, and then pursuing my own career in agriculture and being part of 2 very unique and special rural counties, and understanding what it's like to be fiscally constrained and the impacts of unfunded mandates coming out of Tallahassee, and wanting to represent the people. We feel like we are the grassroots candidate that understands this district better than the opposition, and our desire to represent it effectively is stronger in our hearts, let alone in our political aspirations.
Very good. All right. Well, it was great talking to you today, Chad. And
Enjoyed it.
we at the Chamber want to remind everybody that the primary will be coming up before we know it, August 20th. So
Rapidly approaching.
absolutely. So we want to make sure you all get out and make your voice heard. And one of the best ways to make your voice heard is to get out and vote. So August 20th. Thanks again, Chad.
Thank you very much.